Hello and welcome to Lecture Loops. Today we will see functions in C++. Functions are actually self-contained block of code that perform a particular task. Function can take data values and can also return a data value. When we use function in our program, then it is called modular programming. In today's video, we will see what are the advantages of modular programming, what are various types of functions in C++? Then we will see the components or the elements of a function. Then we will see the working of function. And then we will see some real coding examples of using functions in a program. So if you have not subscribed my channel yet, please subscribe and like and share this video. And be with me in this video till end. So without wasting time, let's start. Yes, first of all, we will see what are the advantages of a function. Number one is divide and conquer. What is the meaning of divide and conquer? We can divide a very lengthy or complicated problem into small parts. These small parts are actually called methods, functions, or modules. With this divide and conquer strategy, we can manage those parts very easily, as well as we can debug such a program very easily, because it is very easy to find errors in such type of programs. In small parts we can find errors easily. Then there is modification or updation. We can perform modification or updation in smaller parts, and it will not affect the whole program. Then we can work in parallel in different modules. If there are various team members, then those team members can work on different modules, and then later on these modules can be combined, so it will make the working faster. Then the biggest advantage of modular programming is the reusability. So when we have to repeat the same type of operations again and again, then we can define a function once and then we can call or use it many times. Next, the types of functions. There are basically two types of functions in C++. Number one is user-defined functions, and the second one is the predefined function. So user-defined functions are defined by the programmer at the time of writing the program. We can customize them according to our requirements, but we have to build the logic and do the coding by ourselves, and it requires extra effort. While predefined functions, these are also called library functions, and we need not to define these functions. These are already stored in the header files. We can just call them in our program by including those header files. But the only limitation of these predefined functions is that we cannot customize them according to our requirements. So there are various examples of library functions, just like POW function of math library that calculates power of a number, and then strcat function of string header file which actually concatenates two strings. Now we'll see various components of a function. So in a function, there are basically three components. Number one is function definition, function declaration or prototype, and number two is function definition, and number three is function call. So one by one, we will see all these elements or components are very important for a function. So we will see these components one by one. So the number one is function declaration or function prototype. What a function declaration or prototype tells us, basically in C++, this function prototype is very essential. We must declare the function before using it. It has to be declared once, and a function prototype is just like a template. That means no memory is reserved against this line, and it is just like a template for the compiler. And it is just a way of providing information to the compiler about the function, like what is the name, what are the various parameters in that function, and what is the return type of that function. So basically this is the syntax. The first is return type. You have to mention either your function will return nothing. If it is not going to return anything, the return type will be void. Otherwise you have to mention the data type of the return value, like int, float, double, anything, or char, anything. Then function name, it can be any name, okay, but it must follow the rules of identifier, rules of naming identifiers. Like you can give any name like sum, add, and percentage, %1, like this. You can give any name to this function. Then there is parameter list. This parameter list actually tells the compiler three things. One is that how many parameters are there, that is number of parameters. Number two is order of parameters. Means like which is the first parameter, which is the second parameter. So order is also important. We cannot change the order. Then data type of parameters. What type of input parameters are there in the function? For example, suppose I write void add float comma int. So this is basically a function declaration or function prototype. So what type of information we are getting from this statement, this particular statement? Number one is the name of the function is add, okay, and it is not going to return anything because void is mentioned here. Then there are two parameters. The first one is the floating point parameter and the second one is the integer parameter. So this is basically the function prototype. Suppose I write float sum and then float comma int comma int. So here we can say that the function name is sum. It is going to return one value and this value is of floating type. Then there are three parameters, that is number of parameters. Order of parameter is first one is float, second one is integer, and third one is also integer. And we also know the data type of parameters, that there is one float type parameter is there in the parameter list and two integer type of parameters will be there. Okay, so in this way we get such type of information. The compiler gets such type of information through this function prototype. The next one is the function definition. So you can see that the function definition has actually two parts. The first line, this is called function header, and this part is called function body. Okay, function header is exactly same as a function prototype. So it also contains function name, return type, and parameter list. Okay, and also it should exactly match with the function prototype. For example, if there are three parameters in the function declaration, then there should be three parameters also in the function definition. Or suppose the first one is the float, second one is integer, and third one is integer, so this order should also be maintained in this particular parameter list. And same goes with the return type and function name also. Okay, so now this parameter list also has another name, and that is the formal arguments or the formal parameters. So basically formal arguments are the variables that will receive the values from the calling program. That is why they are called formal parameters or formal arguments. So basically when we specify the parameters here, suppose like int x, then this is going to be declared and these are called formal arguments. Then in the function body we can see there are local variables, local variable declaration we can do here, and then there are some statements then we can write inside this function body the actual task that this function is going to perform. So we will write that logic or that code inside inside this block which is enclosed in these curly braces. Then there is return statement. If your function is going to return anything, then it must have a return statement, and this return statement will return the value that your function is going to is supposed to return. Then there is function call. So function call is very simple. Only we have to mention the function name and the parameter list, and this parameter list is different from the parameter list that we have mentioned in the function definition. This parameter list is called actual, contains actual arguments or the actual parameters. Because it contains actual values, actual data values that we pass to the function, that we provide to the function. Okay. And this is the function name. Just specifying the function name, we can call that function. Suppose we can mention like sum and then 4.5 comma 3 comma 6. In this way we can call the function. Okay. Now we'll see the working of function with the help of an example. So these are the basic, the structure of the C++ program. Then here we can see that there is a prototype. So here there is a function sum. What information we are getting from this prototype? That there is a function named sum. Okay, and it needs two parameters, both are integers, and this function is also going to return one value, and this value is of integer type. So this is the prototype, and we should see that this prototype should exactly match with the function call as well as with the function definition. See, we can see that function call also contains two variables, and these variables are of integer type, and in the same way we can see that in the function definition we have declared two integer variables. In this way this prototype is exactly matching with the function call and the function definition. Now we'll move forward, and then there is void main, and then here we have declared int a, b and c. So three variables will be declared in the memory. Memory will be reserved for three variables a, b and c. Then enter two numbers. We are asking for the numbers to from the user. So suppose the user enters a as 10 and b as 24. Okay. Then there is a function call sum ab. Now what will happen? There is a function call. As soon as a function call encounters, the control is transferred to the function definition. So we will jump directly to the function definition. The rest of the statements will be executed later on, but at this moment the control will be transferred to the function definition. Now we have come to the function definition. Here there are formal parameters int x and int y. So these x and y will be treated as local variables, and the memory will be reserved for x as well as for y. Now there is one more local variable, that is z. So memory will be reserved for z also. What is the meaning of local variables? The scope of local variables is only inside the function. After this function we cannot access outside this function. We can outside this sum function we cannot access these values x, y and z. Okay. Now what happens that here it is written like x plus y. When function call these a and b is actually this is actual arguments, so the call will become something like this: sum 10 comma 24, because the value of a is 10 and the value of b is 24. Now this value 10 will be assigned to the first parameter, that is x, and this value 24 will be assigned to the second parameter, that is y. So the value of x will become 10, the value of y will become 24. Now what will happen? Here x plus y. So the value of x is 10 and 24, so the z will be 34, and this value is assigned to z. Now there is a return statement z, so it will return 34. Okay. Now as soon as the return statement is there in the function, we go back to the calling program. Okay. So we will the control is transferred now to the calling program. Here the sum ab, this call will be replaced by this return value, which is 34, and this 34 will be assigned to c. Now the value of c will become 34, and it will be displayed as the sum is 34. Okay. So this will be the output: the sum is 34. Okay. So in this way this function calling works. Now we'll see one coding example to just learn how to use these functions in actual programs. Okay. Yes. So now we'll make a program. So first of all we have to write the prototype of this particular function. So suppose I am making a function to calculate simple interest. Okay. So this will be the prototype. Okay. Now we will ask from the user that enter the principal then that's it. Now we will ask for enter the rate of interest and then we will use cin to take rate of interest in the variable r. Then for the third input we will ask for the time, enter the time in years and we will take this value in the variable t. Okay, so we have uh, taken as input all the three values, principal, rate and time. Now we will call the function to calculate the simple interest. Okay, so the name of the function is simple. Now we'll supply the values, provide the values like p comma r comma t. That's it. This is the function call. Okay, so we have to take this variable s here because this function is going to return an integer value. So we must have a variable to catch that value. Okay, and this s variable must be an integer. It can't be float or anything else. Okay, so this is the function call and here we will print the output using cout and the output will be the simple interest is okay and it is actually s. Okay, fine. So that's it. This is the function call, this is the function prototype. Now we are going to make the function definition. So it will be int simple and then here also we have to take three variables. We can name them as PRT also, but I'm taking a different name. So Z like this and then yes, here we will also take a variable. Suppose I have taken for simple interest, I have taken I. Okay, now what we have to do, we know the formula of simple interest. So it will be I equal to x into y into z divided by 100. Okay, and then we have to return this value, return I. Fine, that's it. PRT upon 100. So I will be calculated like this and then we will return the value of I which will go into S and then the simple interest will be printed. Okay, so in this way our function is completed. Now we're going to run it. Enter the principal. Suppose I have entered 10,000, then rate of interest suppose 5% and term of year suppose 2 years and then the simple interest is 1000. Okay, so we have got the result. So in this way we can create various types of functions. Suppose you want to make a function without returning any value, then you have to mention void here. Okay, then what you can do, you will simply call, you have to remove this, then there is no need of declaring this variable as here. Then this statement is will be removed, and we have to put this here. Here only we have to display the result from inside the function, and then again we don't need this return statement. Okay, so in this way this function is not going to return anything. So PRT will take input, and we will provide this the values of PRT to this function simple. These values will be received inside X, Y and Z, and then the value of simple interest will be calculated, and it will be displayed through the function only. Okay, so again I'm going to run it. Suppose 20,000, rate of interest is 3% only, and the time in years is suppose 4 years. Then the simple interest is 2,400. Okay, so this works perfectly well. So in this way you can make functions of various types. Okay, so please like and share my video. That's all from my side. Bye bye, have a nice time.